Alright, so here's the issue with the hovers now. So this is a test server, this is a video addressed to the developers of Crossout. So, this is for them. I don't feel like typing this out, so I'm just gonna quickly, show and tell, show, don't tell, show and tell. I guess that's how it's gonna work out. Yeah, so, 4 hovers, this is a sideways build, this is my front direction, or I'm looking at my front now. So, here's a perfectly balanced 4 hover build. We test it out, it flies kind of low, as you can see. And, yeah, alright, cool. And I've got a little spider over here, which I use for like reference at a height, frame of a spider versus frame of a hover. We can see that this guy flies pretty low. We take this guy up for a climb. Let's go, the steeper slope. Come on. Show me what you got. Well, alright. Yeah. So, we can actually make this climb, but not exactly well. But, yeah. So, clearly struggling with this stuff. Okay. So, I guess that's the hover tweak then. So, let me break the hover tweak now. It's broken because everybody and their mother plays sideways hovers where they place the hovers like this way. You often have your so-called front hovers in the middle of your craft. And because of that, the center of the weight will always sort of be somewhere around here, no matter if you add more stuff. We're just gonna use these bare cabins and this stuff like as reference for now, because it gets my point across. So this is how you would build a sideways hover build. Maybe not this deep, but nevertheless, something like this. And holy shit, what's going on over here? Holy, ho ho! This guy flies high. As you can see, it's already higher than the frame height of, Spider. We just moved the cabin and nothing else. We even added some weight because we added two more frames. And we can see that even at the lowest point, this thing flies higher than the Spider. Just by putting this stuff over here. Or moving the cabin to the front. And thus offsetting the weight. We can see that the center of the weight is like sort of among the front hovers. So, how will it climb? Like a champ. Like a champion. It climbs like a champion. So, GG. Your hover tweak ain't working. And that's the reason, it works in theory. You put, as long as you create a perfectly balanced build where you have your cabin and all your stuff in between the hovers. But that's not how anybody builds their hovercrafts. They all build it like this, where the center of the weight comes somewhere among the front hovers on a sideways build. This works actually pretty well on the sort of front to back axis. We put this guy back in. And we can see that, yeah, alright, well here's this hover of ours. And now if we move the cabin to the front, like this, we can see that it's almost tracking on the ground. So this is correct, this is working correctly. This is how the weight distribution would actually work at this height. This problem exists with multiple hover configurations. It's sort of like most obvious with this 4 hover configuration where this guy is like super low, and then when you offset the weight, it just starts to fly higher, and thus your hover tweak doesn't work. I can even show you that the problem is explicitly the weight distribution. I put this guy in, you can see that it's like this, it's kind of low. I add some frames to it, like this, and it's already flying higher, as you can see, Let's go compare it against the frame setup, We can see that it's slightly lower than the Spider frame, but it's still there, It's still there. We can see that the front is almost at the, at the same height. So let's offset the weight by adding a typhoon into the front of this craft. This is a very common seal clubbing technique. People build their 4-hover seal clubbing builds like this. They put the cabin in the middle and then they put the gun in front of the front hovers. So what happens now? We must go higher. We must go higher. That's what it thinks for some reason. Now we can see that it's, you know, the lowest point is basically where the spider is, the spider frame, and, you know, and it only gets up from there, you know. And now this thing flies like a fool. Yeah. And I just added weight. I added fucking 2,000 kilograms onto this fucking thing, and it flies higher just because the weight is offset. Like, what the fuck? Come on. Let's add more hovers. Let's see what happens if we add 8 hovers onto this baby. Come on, baby, come on. Come on, baby, come on. Yeah, so, you know, you add more hovers, it flies higher. Which is fair enough, you know, I mean, that's how they've been set up for quite a while now. You come in here, and we can see that it's kind of like, you know, kind of like the spider frame, ever so slightly higher. Spider frame, just whatever a spider frame does. So, let's make the climb up. Let's see how it does with 8 hovers. 4 which are Icarus force, as you can see. It's kind of struggling, but hey, it makes the climb, you know. So, you know, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of struggling, but, you know, yeah. Okay, cool. Well, you know, let's offset the weight again. Let's build it like, you know, this is how, you know, any decent hover player would build it. You know, they put the cabin sort of in the front, or they would have like guns in the front or whatever, and these front hovers would be sort of in the middle of the car, pretty much. So, you know, we offset the weight, and dear lord, this guy is high as a kite. It's more high than my mom on Fridays. It's so fucking high that it flies like fucking 2 or 3 frames above the spider frame. And all I did was move the fucking cabin. That's all I did. Now let's climb with this thing. Let's see what happens now. You're in for a show. Fly, you fool! Fly, you fool! Come on. Yeah. Yep. I mean, it's still a little bit down, but you know, it's just fucking soars this fucking hill. We just offset the weight, and we are fucking flying with this thing. Jesus God. All because of the weight offset. So, you know, yeah, you know, your hover tweak ain't quite working because, you know, because once you offset the weight, you know, it just stops working for some reason, at least on sideways configuration, you know. Once again, you know, if you put it like on the front or in the back, then we can see like, you know, that it's sort of like, you know, correct. That's how it's supposed to work. So yeah, it needs some tweaking. That's all for me for now.